As a 2002 baby, this song was the rally cry of my generation. It was a regular on the radio, top of the charts, and everyone knew the lyrics of this catchy and infectious love song. But how did it get to be this way? Well, join me today as I discuss my favorite artists to ever touch a microphone, as well as one of the most influential of all time. We'll start with a brief rundown of their history as a group before going in depth about each singer, and then their history as a duo. So with that said, this is the story of Russian pop sensation t.A.T.u. and their rise and fall. t.A.T.u. are a Russian music duo consisting of Lena Katina and Julia Volkova. The singers were part of children's musical group Neposyedy before being managed by producer and director Ivan Shapovalov and signing with Russian record label Neformat. Their debut album, 200 Kilometers an Hour in the Wrong Lane in 2001, was a commercial success in Eastern Europe, and that resulted in the duo flying to California and signing with Interscope Records to release its English-language counterpart a year later. The album was certified platinum by the IFPI for 1 million copies sold in Europe and became the first album by a foreign group to reach number 1 in Japan. It was also certified gold in the United States and included the international hits All the Things She Said and Not Gonna Get Us. In 2003, the duo represented Russia in the Eurovision Song Contest and finished third behind Turkey and Belgium. Now with that out of the way, let's take a look at the two artists that make up this incredible duo. First is Yulia Volkova.
You're Germany gay.
Better known by the alternative spelling and pronunciation of Julia, she was born on the 20th of February 1985 in Moscow to a middle-class family. Her father was a businessman and her mother was a hairdresser. At the age of 6, Volkova enrolled in music school and began learning how to play the piano. At age 9, she became a member of Russia's children's chorus group Neposyedy, where she would meet future fellow t.A.T.u. singer Lena Katina. At age 11, Volkova transferred to a school fostering artistic talent, and 3 years later left Neposyedy to join t.A.T.u. As for Lena, she was born in Moscow on the 4th of October 1984. At age 4, Katina began to attend various sport and music clubs. When she was 7, she began regular school, and within a year, she entered music school for piano classes. When she turned 10, she joined the children's group Avenue as a soloist, signing with the ensemble for the next 3 years. When she was 13, she became a member of Neposyedy, where she met Julia, and the two became friends. At age 14, she was successfully cast as a member of the pop duo t.A.T.u., together with Julia. t.A.T.u. were formed in 1999 by Ivan Shapovalov and his friend and business partner Alexander, who developed plans to create a musical project in Russia. The two organized auditions in Moscow in early 1999 for teenage female vocalists. By the end of auditioning, the partners narrowed down their search to 10 girls, including the members that finally became t.A.T.u., Lena Katina and Yulia Volkova. The two knew each other before the auditions, and it was said that both girls stood out among the others because of their appearance and vocal experience, but the producers decided to start with Katina, who sang It Must Have Been Love by Roxette. Katina began recording demos, including Yugoslavia, a protest song about NATO bombing of Yugoslavia. After the demos were cut, Shapovalov insisted that another girl be added to the project, and thus, in late 1999, Julia was added to the group. According to Katina, Shapovalov was inspired to create the duo after the release of the Swedish film Show Me Love, which focused on the romance between two schoolgirls. As it pertains to the group name, the producers decided on t.A.T.u. as a short version of the phrase "Ta Lyubit Tu," which means "this girl loves that girl." After the original Russian version of t.A.T.u.'s debut album was released, Trevor Horn was asked to create English-language versions of the songs, writing new lyrics for All the Things She Said and Not Gonna Get Us, and coached Lena and Julia to sing them in English. He also re-recorded the instruments as he did not have access to the original multitracks. He described Shapovalov as awful during the sessions. 5 minutes with Ivan alone with the girls, and he was promptly removed after Lena and Julia came out of them crying. Horn later touched on the situation, saying, quote, "There's no shortcut. You can't bully people." The group was controlled by Shapovalov, and his teachings were seen as really strict. 200 Kilometers an Hour in the Wrong Lane was released in December of 2002, but the first single and arguably their most popular song, All the Things She Said, was released 2 months earlier back in October. The song peaked at the top spot in Australia, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, and the UK. The music video caused controversy worldwide due to the members, who were both 17 at the time of the video's production, kissing behind a fence. Some believe the video promoted lesbianism and pedophilia, but regardless, the girls were on top of the world, being heralded by many news and media outlets as being the hottest pop stars in the world. Surely media appearances would follow, and that's exactly what happened. They appeared on both NBC and ABC's late-night programs. On NBC, they were wearing white t-shirts with the Russian phrase "fuck the war" written on it, condemning the current situation with the US and Iraqi war, while performing their songs. but were under strict guidelines by their production team. Most notably, they were told not to kiss, but did anyway, resulting in the cameraman cutting away while the two were making out. These rules weren't nearly as strict when they appeared on ABC for Jimmy Kimmel Live. They wore those same white shirts, but the "fuck the war" phrase was replaced with "censored," although they still wrote the term on Jimmy's hand and showed it off to the camera. When it came time to perform All the Things She Said, the two kissed at the end, but covered their hands over their face, essentially mocking NBC and trolling the entire American audience in the process. One of the funniest moments of their career for sure. The next single, Not Gonna Get Us, was released in May of 2003. Though not as popular as their debut single, it managed to have success in most record charts. Also in May, Shapovalov was arrested after arranging filming for the group's music video Show Me Love in Moscow's Red Square, despite his application for filming being refused. Shapovalov also attempted to film near London's Big Ben and various other locations. The footage that was recorded was later used for a music video for the song Show Me Love, despite the song not being released in any country other than Poland. The group then released their third single, 30 Minutes. It was released as an official single in the UK. A music video followed after the release. The fourth single, How Soon Is Now, was a cover of the same song written by the Smiths. In May of 2003, Tattoo represented Russia at the Eurovision Song Contest, where they placed third. The group's record label were originally against the group's participation, saying that the Eurovision contest was for young artists, and Tattoo were already an established group, so it looked like they didn't belong here. On September 26th of 2003, the group released a remix compilation titled Remixes. In November 2003, the CD was released in Russia with 2 new tracks and videos. The DVD compilation Screaming for More was released on the 24th of November 2003, featuring music videos and behind-the-scenes footage. Anatomy of Tattoo aired on Russian television on 12th of December 2003. The documentary revealed that the girls were not lesbians and chronicled the group as they took part in Eurovision earlier in the year. The reveal of their true sexual orientation left fans feeling betrayed. In early 2004, Tattoo legally broke their contract with Ivan Shapovalov and Nayformat. In the months before the split, Tattoo and Shapovalov were being filmed for a reality show on STS in Russia. The show followed the group as they were recording their second album to little success, with their producer Ivan. The documentary aired on Russian television from January to March of 2004. There were many rumors that circulated around the split until the show aired, which depicted the group leaving due to a lack of interest and care from their producer, and also claiming the quality of the music being produced was too low and that Ivan was only interested in creating scandals. Julia touched on this, stating, quote, "He spends all his time thinking up scandals instead of planning our artistic work. I'm sure our fans would rather hear new songs and new albums than new scandals." Katina then stated, quote, "He made us out to be lesbians when we were just singing for lesbians. We wanted people to understand them and not judge them, that they are as free as anyone else." In one of the final episodes, Volkova mentioned returning to the United States in the spring of 2004 to record with new producers. However, she fell pregnant soon thereafter and the recording was delayed. Volkova soon joined Katina and previous producer Sergio Galoyan in the studio. The group was backed by their record label Universal Music International and finding adequate songs and production to release a new album. In August of 2005, the first singles from the English and Russian albums were announced, with the most notable one being All About Us. All About Us was a worldwide hit, charting in the top 10 in the majority of European charts. With an amazing and dramatic beat, it's one of their best compositions. The music video complements the song perfectly, although it is suggestive and does contain a rape scene, so watch at your own discretion. The group released their second English album on the 5th of October 2005, titled Dangerous and Moving. The second single released was Friend or Foe, and soon after the video was released, the group's management replaced drummer Roman Ratej with Steve Boomstick Wilson and appointed a new bassist, Domin Vajavec. On the 25th of March 2006, Tattoo received the award for Best Group at the first edition of the TRL Awards. On the 17th of April 2006, Tattoo returned to reality TV in Russia with Tattoo Expedition, which was broadcast on the Russian music channel Muse TV. It chronicled the release of their second album and the recording of the video for their third single, Gomena Sai, which was released during the airing of the show. The video, as well as the actual song, is quite a departure from Tattoo's usual style, although it is one of my personal favorites from them. Tattoo performed in St. Petersburg on April 28th, kicking off their Dangerous and Moving tour. On the 30th of August 2006, the official website announced that the girls had left their record company, Interscope Records. This was due in part to disagreements between the label and the two girls, as they wanted Gomena Sai released as a single, independent of the album. Interscope Records included the song on the album anyway. On the 17th of May 2007, Tattoo issued a statement directed to their gay fans, quote, "When Tattoo's second album came out, many of our fans of alternative sexual orientation thought that we lied and betrayed them. This is not true. We've never done that and we've always advocated love without boundaries. On the 26th of May, they flew out to Moscow to take part in the Moscow Gay Pride demonstration. On the 12th of September 2007, the group released the concert DVD titled Truth. It was the group's first release since leaving Interscope Records. In late 2007, the lead single from their upcoming Russian-language album was released. The project was then known as Waste Management. The second single, 220, made its radio premiere in May of 2008, and the music video was released on their official YouTube channel on 5th of June 2008. That song was just one of the main attractions on a special release known as Hyperion Plate, the first ever EP from the duo. The EP was released on the 8th of May and featured multimedia content including music, video, ringtones, and wallpapers. At the time of the Hyperion Plate release, Waste Management was scheduled to hit the stores in June of 2008. However, the release schedule abruptly stalled on the 5th of June when Tattoo's manager Boris Rensky announced that Julia was unfortunately seriously ill. Her illness forced the cancellation of a concert in Santa Clara, California, and the singer was not seen in public until the wedding of their producer on 5th of July 2008. The duo returned to work in late August when it was reported that Tattoo would be the face of fashion designer Marc Jacobs' fall and winter campaigns in Russia. On the 9th of September 2008, a press release appeared on the duo's official website that declared that the forthcoming album would be titled Happy Smiles instead of Waste Management. The name change reflected sarcastic comments about the state of the Russian music business made by Volkova and Kaptina in an interview with Moscow's Time Out magazine. The press release also provided the track list of the album and an early version of its cover art, but still, no confirmed release date was given. On the 12th of September, the album's third single, You and I, made its debut on Love Radio. The press release disappeared from the site shortly afterward, only to reappear on the 8th of October with a change made to the cover art. Where there was once the face of a smiling astronaut on the original design, a black square now appeared. On the 15th of October, Tattoo's website announced that Happy Smiles would be released on the 21st of October 2008, beginning with a special event at two Soyuz record stores in Moscow where fans could meet the girls and get their autographs. The album also went on pre-sale at the official Tattoo web shop on the 18th of October, with a small number of buyers receiving a limited edition postcard set as a prize. The songs were also made available internationally through the iTunes digital music store. Upon its release, it became apparent that the album essentially had two covers. The astronaut cover was a slipcase, while the original design used for Waste Management appeared inside. The black square from the press release had been hiding a Mars scene. In March of 2009, a statement was released on the duo's site and MySpace stating that the duo will no longer be a full-time project, and that Kaptina and Volkova were working on solo projects. They also mentioned that the third video will be released on the 17th of April on MTV Russia. The girls performed a special concert at the Eurovision Contest 2009 on the 10th of May. They were also included as an interval act on the 12th at the first semifinals event, performing Not Gonna Get Us with the Russian Army Choir. On the 13th of July, the group released their single, Snowfalls. The song was released digitally worldwide along with its music video. The group's second single for the album, White Robe, was released by Coqueiro Verde Records online and premiered on Tattoo's YouTube account. The Tattoo official website announced that the video was up for voting on MTV Brazil on the 10th of November 2009. On the 3rd of December, the White Robe video reached the #1 position on MTV Brazil. It was announced via Twitter that Coqueiro Verde Records would release the album in Brazil on the 25th of January 2010. The album was eventually released worldwide digitally and received favorable reception from critics. The album, however, did not sell very well and was reported to only have sold over 1,000 copies in the United States as of December of 2010. The third single off the album was Sparks, which was the English version of 220. It was released in Brazil and on Tattoo's official YouTube account on the 13th of April 2010. On the 31st of March, a contest was to be launched in which fans will be able to remix their favorite Tattoo songs from the new album. The winning mixes would be included on an upcoming remix album. Julia then made headlines in Russia with an interview where she expressed her opinion on Lena's solo career, stating, quote, "She has the right to sing Tattoo songs, but it's so stupid, absolutely stupid. If you do a solo career, it means that you do your own work. Her stuff that she makes I think is silly, and very soon her career will wither away and disappear." Lena responded to this interview via her YouTube page saying, quote, "I saw Julia's interview. Of course I got upset. But I want to tell everybody that I have a completely opposite attitude towards the whole situation. Julia's project included. I believe she's a very talented person and I sincerely hope that she'll be successful in all the things she plans." At the end of March 2011, Tattoo Management released a press release on their official website declaring Tattoo over. Due to conflicts between the two women, and them both wanting to pursue solo careers, the duo was officially announced as disbanded. They finalized the duo's discography with a double remix album for Waste Management, and the management thanked their fans for the loyalty over the past 12 years of the duo's history. This, to me, was like watching a puppy jump into a blender. The group went their separate ways, focusing on their solo work in both film and music. The next few years included occasional interviews and one-off appearances, with the duo performing at the opening of the Sochi 2014 Olympic Games. After that, Lena posted a video to her YouTube channel stating she would no longer be working with Julia, citing internal conflicts, but they would continue to have occasional joint projects, although few and far between. The next few years after that consisted of solo work from the girls, as well as appearances like in 2016 when they met publicly at the 25th anniversary celebration of Niposiede, which was the children's group that Lena and Julia started out on before forming Tattoo. But other than that, it seemed as if the final nail had been driven into the Tattoo coffin, and that the duo would forever remain a past memory. But you guys know how this works. All stories have a happy ending. Lena announced that Tattoo would return to the stage in 2022, which honestly felt like a fever dream to me. They had participated in the Tattoo tribute concert, which was originally supposed to be in 2021. However, due to persistent issues with the ongoing pandemic, they decided to postpone until spring 2022. In September that same year, Katina and Volkova performed together under the name Tattoo at the Dynamo Stadium in Minsk as part of the Ovion Show event, which legitimately had one of the greatest stages and walkout entrances of any concert I've ever seen. This was then followed by another performance at a sporting event at the Gazprom Stadium in St. Petersburg in May of 2023. This is the most recent public appearance from the two, as Lena would give birth to their second child in July of this year. Throughout Tattoo's dedicated career, they had experienced all the ups and downs, all the ebbs and flows, all the criticism, critical acclaim, and controversy. Lena and Julia single-handedly influenced a generation of kids to be their true and authentic selves, to wake up, live your life to the fullest, and to not give a single fuck what anyone else thinks. Thanks for watching, and for my Russian audience, I've been studying a bit, so I'll try my best here. Spasibo za prosмотр, спасибо вам. Lena и Julia, za всю Tattoo навсегда. Thanks for watching.
She... Mine.